Susan adored baking her grandmother's famous apple pie with her granddaughter Lily. It was their special Saturday ritual, a cherished tradition passed down through generations. But lately, Lily's visits grew shorter and her excuses more frequent. Then came the day Lily flat out said she was too busy for pie. Susan felt a gut-wrenching pang of loss. It wasn't just about the pie, it was about the connection. She realized her constant critiques of Lily's technique and her endless stories about the right way to do things had slowly pushed Lily away. Her desire to pass on a legacy had instead created distance. This isn't just Susan's story. If you're a senior who has felt a subtle growing distance from your adult children or grandchildren, you might be making similar unintentional mistakes. You want to stay connected to feel relevant, to share your wisdom. But sometimes these very desires lead to behaviors that push loved ones away. You might not even realize you're doing it. These aren't malicious acts, but often well-meaning attempts to help to love, or to simply be heard. Yet, they can be misinterpreted as resistance or control by those you care about most. Today, we're going to uncover 7 surprising ways seniors accidentally create this distance. We'll explore the common traps we fall into, not to blame, but to understand. Trap 1, the health monologue. It's easy to fall into a pattern where every conversation, every check-in becomes a detailed health report. You might find yourself sharing every ache, every doctor's visit, every new medication. This well-meaning habit can unintentionally create distance. Your loved ones want to connect with you, the vibrant person they know, not just your medical chart. Constantly processing complex medical details can be emotionally draining for them. It shifts the dynamic from a loving relationship to one that feels more like a patient-caregiver interaction. Think of Donna excited to see her granddaughter Maya after a long week. Maya started to share about her exciting new project at work. But Donna immediately pivoted, launching into a detailed account of her recent knee pain and the side effects of a new prescription. Maya's enthusiasm visibly deflated, and her smile faded as she nodded politely. The moment of genuine connection was lost and replaced by a sense of obligation. Here's a simple, powerful fix. Try the 5-minute rule. When you first connect, whether on the phone or in person, dedicate a short, specific time, say 5 minutes, to briefly update them on your health. Share the essentials, then consciously shift gears. Once those 5 minutes are up, pivot the conversation. Ask about their day, their triumphs, and their challenges. You'll find conversations become lighter, more engaging, and deeply satisfying for everyone involved. Your loved ones feel heard, and you feel truly connected beyond your health status. But sometimes it's not just what we talk about, but how we talk about the past that creates a wedge. This next trap often feels like offering wisdom, but it can accidentally dismiss the very real struggles of those you love. It's what we call the "when I was your age" loop. Think about it. When your adult child or grandchild shares a financial worry, and your first response is about how you bought your first home for a fraction of the cost, what message are you sending? You might be trying to relate, but it often sounds like their current challenges aren't legitimate. This isn't about being unhelpful. It's about how our brains process comparison. When you frame their current struggle against your pasties, their mind often hears it as judgment. It creates a feeling of being unheard, shutting down the very connection you're trying to build. Take Arthur, for instance. His granddaughter Sarah was talking about the immense pressure of finding a good job after college, burdened by student loans. Arthur, wanting to reassure her, said, "When I was your age, you just walked into a factory and got hired. Jobs were everywhere, and college was cheap." Sarah immediately pulled back. She nodded politely, but her eyes glazed over. That conversation, meant to be comforting, ended with her feeling isolated and misunderstood, less likely to share her anxieties with him again. Instead of comparing, try shifting to curiosity. When they share a struggle, acknowledge the difficulty of their situation today. You could say, "Wow, that sounds incredibly challenging, given how much things have changed. What approaches are you exploring to tackle this?" This simple shift opens the door for genuine understanding and support. It makes them feel seen and valued for navigating their unique world, strengthening your bond instead of pushing them away. Now, sometimes it's not just what we say, but how much we try to do for others that can create distance, even with the best intentions. Trap 3, overgiving or overhelping. Sometimes our deepest desire to contribute can turn into something else entirely. We might find ourselves overgiving or overhelping, even when it's not truly needed or wanted. This isn't about being malicious. It's about a profound, often unconscious need to remain essential in the lives of those we love. This drive comes from a very real place within us. As life stages shift, many of us feel a natural pull to demonstrate our value and importance. We want to show our wisdom, our continued ability to make a difference and prove we're still relevant. It's a powerful human need to feel useful, to contribute meaningfully, and to avoid feeling obsolete. But when this need goes unchecked, it can accidentally push people away. Instead of feeling supported, loved ones can start to feel smothered or even controlled. It creates distance where we hoped for connection. Take Elizabeth, for example. Her daughter Michelle had asked her to hold off on decorating the nursery until after the baby shower. Elizabeth, wanting to help out, decided to surprise Michelle by painting the entire room herself, even choosing a color Michelle hadn't picked. Michelle was devastated. Instead of feeling grateful, she felt her wishes had been completely ignored. She realized her mom valued being needed more than respecting her boundaries. That simple act of overhelping created a deep rift, making Michelle hesitant to share future plans with Elizabeth. The good news is you can shift this dynamic. The key is to always ask permission first. Before you jump in to fix something or help with a task, offer your assistance in a specific, respectful way. Try saying something like, "I have some free time this week. Would you like me to tackle that specific chore? Or is there something else I could genuinely help you with?" Be prepared to accept a no thank you gracefully without any hurt feelings. When you respect their space and choices, even when they decline your help, you're actually building a stronger, more trusting relationship. This thoughtful approach transforms your help into a true gift rather than an obligation. Your loved ones will appreciate your support even more knowing it comes without strings attached, and that makes your connection truly essential. This desire for control or to feel essential can sometimes manifest in another surprising way. Trap 4. The control tether. Resistance to new ways. This next trap can feel like a silent tug-of-war. It's about holding on to the old ways, even when new methods could make life and your connections so much smoother. This resistance often to things like new technology or different family routines can create a real barrier between you and your loved ones. Why do we do this? Often it's a deep-seated need to maintain a sense of control. As the world changes rapidly, sticking to what's familiar can feel like a safe harbor. But this natural inclination to resist change, while understandable, can inadvertently push away the very people you want to stay close to. Think about Margaret. She loved her grandchildren, but insisted on only phone calls. Her daughter Sylvia tried for months to get her to try FaceTime so the kids could see her face. Margaret would always say, "Oh, I'm just not good with those gadgets," or "It's too complicated." The children started to lose interest in the calls, and Sylvia felt a growing sadness that her kids weren't forming that visual bond with their grandmother. It wasn't that Margaret didn't care, she just couldn't bring herself to try something new, and it created a quiet distance. Instead of seeing new ways as a challenge to your established routine, try viewing it as a shared project. When a loved one suggests a new app or a different way of doing things, approach it with curiosity, not immediate dismissal. Say something like, "Show me how this works, I appreciate your patience." This small shift transforms a potential conflict into a moment of teamwork. You're not just learning a new skill, you're actively building a stronger, more flexible connection, and that feels incredibly empowering for everyone involved. Sometimes, though, our communication goes beyond just resistance to new methods. It can veer into more subtle, yet equally damaging territory. This next trap is particularly insidious. It's when we use guilt, martyrdom, or subtle passive-aggressive comments to get attention or compliance. This isn't about being mean-spirited, it's often a deeply ingrained way of communicating. But it creates a wall where you desperately want a bridge. You see, making a direct request can feel incredibly vulnerable. We might worry about seeming needy or being a burden. So instead of saying, "I'd love for you to visit on Tuesday," we might sigh and say, "Oh, don't worry about me, I'll just sit here alone." This isn't a conscious manipulation. It's often a hidden fear of rejection or feeling like we're asking too much. But this indirect approach backfires, pushing loved ones away. Consider Eleanor. She desperately wanted to see her son David more often. But instead of calling him and suggesting a date, she'd often end their calls with a heavy sigh and a comment like, "Well, I suppose I'll just be here by myself this weekend." David would hear this. He'd feel a knot of guilt in his stomach. But he also felt manipulated and resentful, unsure how to respond to such a vague, guilt-laden statement. Eventually, his visits became less frequent, overshadowed by unspoken tension. The powerful solution here is direct assertion. Calmly express your needs without attaching any negative emotions to the possibility they might not be met. Instead of vague hints, try a clear invitation. Say, "I miss you. Would you be free for a 30-minute call on Thursday?" This simple shift removes the guessing game. It replaces guilt and resentment with clarity, allowing genuine connection to flourish. You get to feel heard, and they get to respond from a place of love, not obligation. Clear communication is vital, but so is knowing what we share. Because sometimes, even with the best intentions, we can overwhelm our loved ones with too much information. You might mean well, wanting to share your deepest thoughts or concerns, but sometimes these intense discussions can feel less like sharing and more like an unsolicited deep dive. This is our trap number 6, information overload. It happens when heavy topics like deep family history or even end-of-life wishes come up at the wrong time. It can completely overwhelm your loved ones. Think of it this way. Everyone has a certain amount of emotional energy, like a battery. When you spring a very serious, complex subject on them unexpectedly, especially when their battery is already low from daily life, it drains them. Their brain struggles to process such heavy information without proper mental preparation. This isn't because they don't care, but because their emotional capacity is finite. They might shut down not because they're unwilling to engage, but because they're simply overloaded. Consider Eileen. She was at her granddaughter Maya's casual birthday lunch, surrounded by laughter and cake. Suddenly, Eileen brought up a decades-old family secret, something heavy and unresolved, right over dessert. The room went silent. Maya, who had just been beaming, visibly stiffened. The happy atmosphere shattered, and people started finding excuses to leave shortly after. Eileen's intent was to share, but the timing left everyone feeling awkward and drained, turning a joyful occasion into an emotional minefield. The simple solution is to schedule these important conversations. Instead of dropping heavy topics, spontaneously ask, "I have something important I'd like to discuss with you. When would be a good time to talk more deeply?" This gives them time to prepare mentally and emotionally. Scheduling creates a dedicated space for real engagement, allowing both of you to be fully present. It ensures these crucial discussions happen, productively strengthening your bond instead of straining it. This approach respects their boundaries, making space for important discussions without pushing them away. But sometimes pushing people away isn't about what we give, but what we refuse to accept. Trap 7. The silence of pride. Refusing necessary help. Sometimes the greatest push away isn't about doing too much, but about refusing to accept even simple necessary help. This is the silence of pride, and it can put you in real danger. It also causes immense worry for the people who care about you most. This isn't just stubbornness. It's deeply ingrained. Our brains are wired to protect our sense of self-sufficiency. Accepting help, especially for something we once did effortlessly, can feel like admitting defeat. It triggers a primal fear of losing control and becoming a burden. But this protective instinct can backfire, creating the very distance we fear. It leaves loved ones feeling helpless and ignored when all they want to do is support you. Take Arthur, for example. He insisted on driving himself to his weekly bridge game even after his eyesight started failing. His daughter Sarah offered to drive him every single week. Arthur would just smile, wave her off, and say, "I'm perfectly capable, dear." One rainy evening, he got lost on a familiar road. Sarah found him an hour later, shaken and disoriented, pulled over on the shoulder. Her relief quickly turned to a deep, worried frustration. His refusal to accept such a simple offer felt like a direct dismissal of her genuine concern. The key here is a shift in perspective. Accepting help isn't a sign of weakness. It's an act of generosity. When someone offers support, they're not trying to take your independence. They're trying to express their love and ease their own worry. Let them drive you to that appointment. Let them lift that heavy box. You're giving them the gift of contributing, of feeling useful, and of knowing you're safe. The relief you both feel, that shared peace of mind, is incredibly powerful. We've explored 7 common ways our actions, often unintentional, can create distance. Now let's bring it all together and see how we can bridge these gaps with grace and understanding. Think about these 7 traps. Which one felt most familiar to you, or perhaps most applicable to a relationship you cherish? Simply acknowledge it. That single awareness is your first powerful step forward. This journey isn't about finding fault. It's about building bridges. I'd love to hear from you. In the comments below, tell us which trap resonated most deeply with you today. Your insights help us all learn and grow. And if you're ready to explore more ways to nurture those precious relationships, make sure to subscribe to our channel. We're always here to offer practical advice.